Thank you so much for joining today's SHL Virtual Solutions platform training. The purpose of our call today is to go over the platform that you have decided to engage on. We're excited to be sharing this with you and to be going through a process of how to schedule your AutoView interview option. My name is Edgar Zapata, and I'm a business development manager here at SHL, specializing in our Aspiring Minds and video solutions. And I'm also joined today by my colleague, Dwayne, and I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Dwayne Peterkin, and I'm a client services specialist at SHL. I also specialize in demoing our virtual solutions, and I'll pass it back over to Edgar.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Dwayne. So in our agenda for today, we're going to do a high-level overview of our video interview offerings. We're also going to do a little bit of a deeper dive on AutoView and do the platform training. Within that platform training, we will be showing you how to log into the system. We're going to cover scheduling the video interview tool, whether that be the structured setting. And then we're going to do also a question bank and custom question option, and then also cover bulk upload. After the training is completed, we will then be doing next steps and questions that how to get your questions answered moving forward as well. So starting off, I did want to provide a high-level overview of our 3 video solution offerings. So I'll start from top to bottom. So the first one is going to be our live video interview option. So it's going to be a live synchronous interview platform. So that's if you wanted to provide a interview on demand, or you wanted to schedule an interview for a live interview between a recruiter and a candidate. So that would be the live video interview option, and that is SmartMeet. For today's, and then we're also I want to cover our coding interview. So that's gonna be a live synchronous interview platform that's gonna have a coding simulation at the same time. It's a pretty great product, really popular within the tech industry. It does replace the technical screening that you would often do in person. So you're gonna have the ability to have the coding simulation while providing the interview, and you're also looking in real time what the coder is doing. You're able to whiteboard with them, you're able to give them some hints, etc. And then it obviously does have a functionality of recording, so that if there was anyone else that needed to be on the interview, that they could review that on their own time, and they're able to see what that coding person did as well, and then provide feedback on whether or not you want to move forward with that technical candidate. And the same thing for the live video option. It does have an option to record as well. So today's focus will really be around our one-way video interview. And so that's going to be on our Aspiring Minds platform that is known as AutoView. And that's going to be our on-demand asynchronous video interview platform. So it's going to, a lot of use case scenarios around that is typically going to be for a high volume role. So you'd be able to create the interview process with the questions that you've set up, and then you're able to send them out, and then the candidates would be able to take them at their own time. And then once that's been completed, then you're going to be able to, whether it be a team of recruiters or just a recruiter, they're going to be able to review those on their own time as well. So less about scheduling and more just about once it's completed, the recruiter or recruiting team is able to review and provide feedback on that candidate in their own comfort of their time. Let's go ahead and move forward to our actual platform training to show you the process for setting up an AutoView. Let me go ahead and move over my screen. That way we can go ahead and log into this. So this is going to be the login screen. You should have been given some login credentials. So it's going to be pretty easy. All you do is you're going to enter your username and password. Once you do that, you then go ahead and select login. It does take a moment here just for it to log in, but then you'll be brought to the main platform screen. You'll see that on this platform screen, you'll see what has been scheduled, what's been completed, and then some other tools here as well. For today's training, we're going to focus on the video assessments piece, so we can see that. So that's going to be these options right here. But also just wanted to highlight, in case you were interested down the road of doing SmartMeet or CodeMeet, that is also available down below here. But today's focus is going to be on our creation of an AutoView scenario. So I selected Create Assessment, and then you're going to type up your assessment name. So let's go ahead and do, sales executive. Then I am going to, you're going to be able to see that there's always going to be a sample question. And what the sample question is for is that it's going to make sure that the candidate's video and recording audio piece are working properly. So that's why there is always a sample question. So that's something that can't be taken out. At that point, then you have option to either create a new question of your own, or you can pick from our question bank. So for example, you could, I can do a quick search and I can do sales and press the search function. So let's go ahead and you can see now it provides a little bit more information. You can click on the piece right there that looks like an eye, and then you're able to dive a little bit deeper on what is the question that is going to become available. So I'm going to go ahead and show you both options of where we can pull from the question bank and then also create a new question as well. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pick sales professional. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my question set. All right, so that's been added. But next, I also want to add a custom question. So at that point, you can do a question title. So maybe challenging sales experience. And at that point, then you have the option to then you can do a text only, you can do an audio, or you can do a video. So if you do a text only, then you would simply just text in the question in here. So tell me about a time where you were challenged on your sales proposal. And then you could move forward. Now that would be for the text only option, but then you can also do the audio option or the video option. And we'll go ahead and show you the audio option. That way you can see what that looks like. And then we'll go ahead and upload. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. At that point, then you would then right here, you were able to either pull from already an audio creation that you already have within your system, or you can create it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and press that. Hello. Oops, I need to actually press the start record function. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hello, tell me about a time where you were challenged on a sales proposal and how you handled the situation. So then I press that, and then I could play it back so I can hear it, and then you can just and then if you're happy with it, you can upload, or you can press the record function again and then re-record. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this real quickly. I wanted to show you that process if you wanted to do it that method. So let's go ahead, and I want to get back to, I'm going to get back to tell me about a time where you were challenged on your sales proposal. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm going to do text only. Now you have the option here as well, some functionality where you can decide what amount of thinking time you want the candidate to have in order to provide a response to you. So I guess we can do, this one might be a little bit easier. So maybe we'll give them, I don't know, 45 seconds. So you can see the ease and functionality to change this. At that point, then you can also give them how much response time you want to be able to give them to answer. So maybe they're going to come up with a very specific answer here. So maybe you actually want to give them, in this case, maybe 3 minutes and 30 seconds or even 3 minutes. You can see that's pretty easy. You can either use these up and down arrows, or you can also just use your keyboard as well. At that point, you want to be able to tag some competencies here. So if that's something that you do want to do. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and do sales, maybe sales ability. Maybe I want to look at looking at their communication with this question. And then I'm going to go ahead and press save. Now it looks like there actually is a little bit of a 2-minute mark in order to do the response time. I do apologize about that. So we're going to go ahead and put that 2 minutes, which is great because the system just tells you what you can and cannot do. So that's really helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and press save. At that point, then we see that we have now the question from the question bank, and then we also have the custom question that's already in there. So next, I'm going to go ahead and press save and next. At this point, then you do have the option to do some proctoring, but you do want to be careful with some of the proctoring pieces, because then you just want to make sure that you give a heads up to the candidate. But we do have some proctoring functionalities within the Aspiring Minds platform. A lot of clients that I work with tend to, for the AutoView portion, tend to turn these off. But again, this is something that you may want to have an internal discussion about. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and turn them off. You'll see that our solution does have capabilities within the mobile device option as well. So that's always great news. And then this is going to be the candidate details. So when they log in for the interview, this is the information that is going to be collected from them. At that point, you go to save and next. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then these are going to be the different, so this is the overall evaluation parameters. So maybe in this case, the overall evaluation parameter is going to be sales. And then this is going to be specific to each question. So these are the different evaluations that you're looking at for the question. So for that sample, you don't necessarily have to enter, you don't have to enter anything in there. But for the sales professional, maybe you're looking at some very specific evaluation parameters that you're trying to figure out from the candidate. So maybe in this case, you want to look at sales, again, sales, maybe it's sales experience. And you can even type something else in besides whatever's in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do sales experience. Maybe it's also looking at communication. And then you go to the next one. And then maybe this one's going to be difficult situation, or you can do, again, let's just see, we can even do communication actually, just to kind of keep it simple. So communication, and we can take this out. And then after that, then you can go ahead and go to schedule now. Once we get to the schedule now functionality, then this is where we have the option to, this is going to be how long do you want this assessment to be available. So this interview to be available for candidates to take their interview in their own time. So a lot of times clients of mine will, sometimes there's a very specific range in which they'll send this out to, whether it be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, etc. Candidates. And so there's a very specific window in which they want them to take this. So that's where you put this information. Again, you're able to select the time zone. You're also able to select from when it starts all the way to when it is able, when it would end it. So in this case, you could then, let's say you want to have it available till the end of the month, so April 30th, and you're able to dive down even as deep to the hour and minute in which they are able to take it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that and select done. And then you'll see here, there are a couple different ways to do it. And I know that there is an option to do an upload of a bulk data. You'd simply select this, and then once you do that, it is going to provide you with a sample of what the CSV or Excel file needs to look like in order for it to be compatible with uploading the bulk upload option. You can also do add individually as well. So if you add an individual candidate and have them take this, but most commonly, I would say a lot of clients that I work with tend to do the common link, because then you just have one common link and then you send it out as part of the recruiting process that, this is the step that they would have to take in order to do that initial interview. So let's say, again, sales demo interview, or whatever, username that you wanted to use. And then again, you can create a password. I always like to show what I'm writing here. That way I can just see. So demo 2020, or maybe even demo April 2020. So that would be that. And then you can enter the number of candidates. So this would be the number of, so let's say you're already aware that you're gonna do 50 candidates. You could put in 50 or 10 or 5. For today's demonstration, we'll just go ahead and put 5 in there. And then of course you can send in the login details to multiple people. Often what I see in this part is sometimes if it's a recruiter that's setting this up and is going to send this out to a group of individuals, often I find that the recruiter will send this email out to themselves. That way they're able to then just take the information that was provided and then they can use their own email template to send out the instructions. Here, then you have the option to get an assessment completion alert. So the assessment completion alert is the assessment in this case is going to be the interview. So this is going to be telling me, do I want to receive an alert every time the assessment is the interview is completed? So in this case, if it was 5, you may want to get all those alerts. But for those high volume situations, if you're, going to get 50 or whatever amount, a high volume number, you may not want to get all those alerts. So often what I see is whenever it's a high volume, they'll keep that turned off. And then this is going to be the candidate notifications if they want to receive an email. And then here, then you can assign evaluators. So at this point, I can add myself. I can add someone else within the organization that's already in the system. And then I want to take a quick pause there and just see if there are any questions that you may have.
How is it possible to add additional evaluators?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's a great question. So the system's actually really easy in being able to add another evaluator. So even if they're not in here, right here, for example, so if I want to add Dwayne, but maybe I want to add, I don't know, someone else, John Smith, right? So John Smith is also one of the evaluators. Then you would type in their email, you create a username for them, and then you enter the phone number. When you enter the phone number, you always want to enter just the full number without the without any asterisks, because the system doesn't recognize that. So you would enter that, and then once you press submit, then it's going to send that person their own login credentials to be an evaluator for this for the different interviews. So it's pretty intuitive in that way. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark myself as an interviewer in this case. And at that point, then I'm going to go ahead and schedule. And then I'm going to go ahead and proceed. Perfect. So now it's been sent out. And let me see if I can pull up really quickly without, sorry about that. I just wanted to show you what the email looks like that would actually come through. Again, as I mentioned, I do have often a lot of clients that will often use the common link, and they want to send this out to a variety of people. So maybe that person that's doing the scheduling, they'll send this email to themselves. And then you'll see that I'm pulling up. Now this is going to be the URL that you send to the multiple candidates. This is the username that they would enter and their password. And you'll see the loud count that was provided. So in this case, you may not want to send that off to them. So maybe you already have your own email template, and you can send that off to the group of candidates. Of course, if you are satisfied with the template that is already provided within the system, you could always enter the multiple email addresses in there as well, if you're satisfied with this this process right here. So I want to take a quick pause and also just show you one last thing. So once that you do have the completed assessments, you would then go into My Assessments. And so we just created that sales executive one. So of course you'll see there haven't been any scheduled, so no one's logged in for that. Obviously there hasn't been any completed, but this is where you'd go in and be able to find that information as well and find some additional pieces, candidate details. You can also schedule straight from here as well. So again, I can select schedule assessment, which is the interview. Again, you can schedule from the bulk upload perspective, and it's that same exact sales assessment that we just set up. So with those two questions, one being that the one from the question bank, and the other one being the custom question that you set up. And then you'd just be brought to this and you'd enter this information all over again, but just a lot easier at that point. Perfect. Let me go ahead and get back to my PowerPoint presentation, as I do want to cover some last pieces on this training. So some next steps are going to be, you do have use of our video solutions at your disposal for the 60 days at no additional cost. And we are going to have one of our commercial contacts will be reaching out to you and collecting some feedback from you during this trial period. We just want to get some information from you, how things are going, if you need additional training, any questions that you might have. We want to provide assistance and guidance for you as well. And then, of course, if there's any constructive feedback on things that you want to see maybe for a future release of our solutions, we're always happy to provide that feedback to our product team for future iterations of our solutions. And then lastly, please do not hesitate in reaching out to your commercial contact at SHL. So whoever was the person that kind of got you on this 60-day trial, If there are any questions at all, or you need anything else from us, feel free to just reach out to them and they'll make sure to get you in contact with the right person. I appreciate your time today and look forward to working with you here soon.